Welcome to Off Balance, the podcast where faith, family, and business collide. I'm Dr. Brooks, a certified master life coach, transformational speaker, and author. Join me as we explore the journey of overcoming adversity and developing resilience. It's time for you to find your strength and reclaim balance. This is Off Balance.
Welcome back to Off Balance, the podcast where faith, family, and business collide, and we get real about navigating it all with grace and grit. I'm your host, Dr. Brooks. Today, we are going to tackle a topic that's often kept in the shadows, a quiet ache that can leave a big mark when parents are jealous of their children. Now, that might sound strange at first, even uncomfortable, but if you've ever felt like your parent resents your success, downplays your achievements, or, compete with you instead of celebrating you, then you're not alone. This episode is for anyone who's ever faced that kind of tension and wondered, why is this happening and what do I do with it? We're going to unpack the emotional, spiritual, and practical side of this. And by the end of this episode, my prayer is that you'll feel both seen and equipped to walk this road with grace, strength, and healing. The first thing that we have to do is we have to name the wound. Let's begin with honesty. Parental jealousy is one of those unspoken dynamics in families that can cause deep confusion and pain, especially when it's all, in connection with approval or support. It may look like a parent who constantly criticizes your choices, especially when you're doing well. It may be those subtle jabs when, you share your good news, and they may say things like, must be nice to have that kind of money. Or it could be dismissive comments when you achieve something that you never did before. Or even emotional withdrawal as if your growth has somehow triggered their shame. And at its core, jealousy in a parent is not really about the child. It's about their own unhealed disappointment, insecurity, or regret. And when you, as the child, begin to break cycles or build something new, like a marriage that's healthy, a business that's thriving, a life grounded in faith and purpose, it basically can stir up what they never had. And so often we hear, parents say, I want my child to do better than I did. I want my child to have more access, to things that I didn't have. But in some people, some parents that stings when their child go further than them, when their child have more access, when their child is, living better than they did, it can really hurt. But it's important to say you are not responsible for managing your parents' jealousy. I want to repeat that. You are responsible for managing your parents' jealousy. But you can learn how to navigate it with wisdom, boundaries, and compassion. So let's talk about how. Why does this happen? So here's what we are going to do. We are going under the surface and we are going to kind of identify why this happens. So when a parent sees their child succeed in areas where they struggle, it can feel like a mirror to their own wounds. It's almost like when you see parents who did not go far in athletics, but they want to push their children so hard. And it's like they're looking in the mirror and they're living those experiences through their children, which can be dangerous and which can turn into jealousy and resentment. So when the parent sees their child succeed in areas where they struggle, it can feel like, again, they're looking in the mirror to their own wounds. And they may think, why didn't I get those chances? Why didn't I chase those dreams? Why is it so easy for them? Even if those thoughts aren't voiced out loud, it can shape their behavior. And what I mean by that is the parent might try to reassert control. They may try to compete or criticize as a way to soothe their own discomfort. And so this isn't to excuse their behavior, but I'm just trying to show you how it may come across, right? But understanding why it's happening, it can help you take it less personally. Sometimes we have to disconnect ourselves so that we won't take things personal. Because if we walk around taking things personal all the time, we're going to be very unhappy, and we don't have to live that way, right? We have to choose what we take in. And so I'm hoping that with this episode, if you are experiencing this, that it can really help you. Again, I'm not excusing their behavior, but I just want you to understand why, so it can help you take it less personally. In many cases, this pattern is generational. Your parent may have experienced the same dynamic with their parent, and now unintentionally it's leaking into your relationship. But here's the good news: you can stop the cycle. We're going to look at it from a biblical perspective. This is a Christian podcast, so everything is going to be from a biblical perspective. If you don't believe what I believe, that's fine. But I just want to show you from a biblical context of what this looks like. So we're going to bring this back to scripture. The Bible doesn't shy away from family dynamics. In fact, it gives us powerful examples of how jealousy can break relationships, but also how God brings restoration. I want you to think of Joseph and his brothers in Genesis 37. Joseph's father, he favored him, and when Joseph shared his dreams of greatness with his brothers, they grew envious, so much so that they sold him into slavery. So that jealousy that they had for him, it turned into betrayal. And yet, God used Joseph's story for redemption. Okay, let's look at Saul and David. Saul was the king, but David's rise, it sparked deep jealousy. Saul couldn't celebrate David's victories because he was too consumed by his own insecurity. In both stories, we see jealousy leads to division when left unchecked. But we also see God's favor isn't limited. One person's calling doesn't diminish another's worth. So if you face a jealous parent, I want you to know this: your success doesn't shame them, their unhealed hurt does. And your calling isn't a threat, it's a testimony. Romans 12:18 says, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. That includes your parents. But peace doesn't always mean closeness. Sometimes it means boundaries, and that's okay. So I'm going to give you some practical strategies. So here are 6 strategies to navigate this dynamic with clarity and compassion. The first thing that I want you to do is name the pattern. And I want you to name it privately, right? I don't want you to go around, this is what I see. No, name it privately. I want you to start by acknowledging the truth, not to shame them, but to stop gaslighting yourself. I want you to write down moments that felt hurtful or confusing. Seeing the pattern helps you trust your gut. Because see, sometimes we can sense stuff, we can see stuff, but then we like play it off, like we like downplay it, like nah, maybe I'm tripping. No, so that's why I want you to acknowledge the truth. The second thing I want you to do is separate identity from approval. Your worth isn't tied to your parents' affirmation. If they can't celebrate you, it doesn't mean that you're not worth celebrating. I'm going to say that one again. Separate identity from approval. Your worth isn't tied to your parents' affirmation. If they can't celebrate you, it doesn't mean that you're not worth celebrating. The third thing I want you to do is set gentle boundaries. You may need to limit what you share, change how often you see them, or create emotional distance. That's not dishonoring, that's stewardship, right? We have to be good stewards of our time, and we can't continue to subject ourselves to people, places, and things that cause us mental harm, physical harm, emotional harm, or things of that nature. So you got to go ahead and prepare yourself to set those gentle boundaries. The fourth thing, don't try to prove or perform. You are not an act. You are not taking your show on the road. Trying harder to earn their love won't heal the root. In fact, it often makes the jealousy worse. So I want you to stand firm in who God says you are. The fifth thing, seek safe support. You cannot do life alone. So I want you to talk with a mentor, a counselor, or a trusted friend who gets it. because healing happens in safe relationships. You don't have to walk this thing out by yourself. The sixth thing is I want you to forgive, even if they never apologize. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it's releasing the weight of the wound, right? So it doesn't become your bitterness. Jesus said on the cross, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That's the kind of forgiveness. It's costly, but it's freeing. You have to be okay with never hearing I'm sorry, or never, receiving the acknowledgement that all these years what you felt was valid, right? So you have to be okay with that. So I want you to heal your inner child. You have to heal that inner child because that is going to be important moving forward. So when we face jealousy from a parent, it often reactivates that child version of who just wanted to be loved, seen, and approved of. So take a moment to speak to that inner child. You can say, you didn't do anything wrong. Their jealousy isn't your fault. You are worthy of love and celebration, and you don't have to keep shrinking to make others comfortable, right? Say that to your inner self, that inner child, because I want you to know that Jesus came to bind up the brokenhearted. So let him tend to that younger part of you. I don't want you to go another day with diminishing your achievements, your accomplishments, diminishing the barriers that you've broken through, those things that you have done in your life that have just really catapulted you into the next level. I don't want you to diminish that because your parents are jealous of you, right? No. From this day forward, you are going to embrace everything that God has allowed for you to do in your life, and you're going to celebrate yourself. You're going to clap for yourself. You are going to no longer put your things on the back burner, right? And so I'm just excited for you, and I'm excited for what's next. And I have a word for parents that are listening. If you are a parent yourself, I want to speak directly to you. I want you to be aware of your own triggers. If you feel jealousy of your child's opportunities, their beauty, gifts, or ease, don't push it down. I want you to get curious. I want you to ask yourself, what did I not get that they now have? Where do I still need healing or permission to grieve? Then remember, your child's success is your legacy. You can choose to be a ceiling or a springboard, a lid or a launch pad. God isn't finished with your story. It's not too late for you to heal. It's not too late for you to heal. But I encourage you to get to the root of whatever it is, and I encourage you not to suffocate your child with what you perceive as failures in your own life, right? I want you to use all of those things that you felt like you didn't accomplish as a launch pad, because as long as you got breath in your lungs, you can accomplish whatever it is that you set out to accomplish. If you look in the news, you see people that are 80 in their 80s and 90s earning degrees, right? People that are doing stuff for the first time. So don't allow your age to restrict anything. We see it in the Bible all the time. They did things in their latter years when they had more wisdom, more resources, more access. So don't think because you missed out when you were in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s that it's too late. It's not, right? And so before we close, I just want to say, if today's episode stirred something in you, maybe grief, maybe clarity, let me remind you of this. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to rise. You don't have to dim your light to protect someone else's wounds. And you are not alone, right? So whether you're navigating this as a child, a parent, or both, God sees the full picture. He is a father who does not compete with his children. He delights in them. Psalms 18:19 says, He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. That's the kind of love you were made for. That's the love that heals. And so I just wanted to thank you for joining me today on Off Balance. If this episode encouraged you, would you take a moment to rate, share, or send it to someone else who needs it? Until next time, keep walking in grace, truth, and faith that reshapes your family legacy. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to stay willing to grow. See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to rate this episode and share it with your family and friends. To learn more about your host, visit